On to example 2. Buddy and Bubbles are two of Santa's elves. Buddy can make 15 toys per hour while Bubbles can make 12 toys per hour. We're going to write two expressions that could show the combined number of toys per hour that Buddy and Bubbles could make if they worked the same amount of hours each. So let's just get started. So what represents Buddy's toys per hour? Well, how many toys can he make per hour? Well, he can make 15 per hour. If he did 1 hour, that'd be 15 toys, 2 hours, 30 toys, 3 hours, 45, so on and so forth. So repeated addition is multiplication, and we would have to multiply it by the number of hours. In this case, that is being represented by the variable h. So 15 times h. And then for Bubbles, Bubbles makes 12 toys per hour, so that means it would be 12 times h. Now, number 3, we're going to use the terms above to write a complete expression representing the total toys. So between both of them, we would be adding to get those total toys. So 15h plus 12h. And now we're going to simplify the expression above so that Santa will only have to make one calculation to determine the total number of toys Buddy and Bubbles are making combined. So 15h plus 12h would be 27h. Now let's go ahead and check our work to make sure we did it right. So let's just suppose that Buddy and Bubbles both work 100 hours. We're going to replace h with 100 in both expressions above and solve for a final toy count. So let's check it with the first one. So we have 15 and then times 100 plus 12 times 100. Following order of operations, multiply first. So 15 times 100 is 1,500. Then plus 1,200. And if we add those up, we would get 2,700 toys. Now let's try it for expression number 2. So we have 27 times h, which is 100. Well, 27 times 100 is 2,700 toys. So we can see in both cases that we got 2,700 toys, but this second expression that we had simplified ended up having less math we had to do once we had already done the step of simplification. So instead of having to do 3 steps to solve, we could just do the 1 and we're done. Okay, so we're going to do 2 more practice problems together, and then I'm going to have you try the rest on your own, and then you can check. So we're going to start with number 4 first. So we're going to be writing 2 expressions for each situation. So the total cost C of a doctor's visit after insurance pays 80% of the cost. Well, if insurance is paying 80% of the cost, that means what we are actually paying goes down. So the original cost is represented by C, and then we're going to be taking away, so we're going to be subtracting the 80% of the cost. Remember, of means we're multiplying. So to calculate 80% of the cost, 80% as a decimal would be 0.8, and then of times the cost, which is C. So we have C minus 0.8C. Remember, this is a 1, even though it's not written, so 1 minus 0.8 would give us 0.2C. Which makes sense because if insurance is paying 80%, that means we would be paying 20% out of pocket. So it makes sense that we would have 0.2 there. All right, and then the other one we're going to do is number 9. So the total amount of fabric needed if a quilt will have an equal number of shapes, S, and the shapes that we have here are triangles. They each take 0.01 yards squared of fabric, and hexagons take 0.07 yards squared of fabric. So on this one, people get confused because you're like, oh my gosh, there's shapes and there's decimals, and we're talking about like area because we have yards squared. But if we think about it, with a quilt, we take pieces and we put them together. So like we would have a bunch of triangles here and a bunch of hexagons here, and we're putting them all together and they're being sewn together. We're going to say that each shape is going to have the same number because they have an equal number of shapes. So for just the triangles, each triangle uses 0.01 yards of fabric. Well, then it depends on how many shapes we have. So if we had 3 triangles, then it would be 0.03. If we had 6 triangles, it'd be 0.06. So each time we would have to multiply it by S, which is the number of shapes. Well, then we're going to add that together with our other shape, which is the hexagon. And the hexagon is 0.07 yards of fabric. And then it depends on how many hexagons we have. So we would have to also multiply it by S. So then now for our second expression, when we combine like terms, it would be 0.08 S. Now what I want you to do is pause the video and then go ahead and try out these other practice problems and see how you did. Okay, let's go ahead and check. So number 1 is exactly like example 1 that we did on the other video notes. So the total cost C of a pair of pants and an 8% sales tax. Well, C is the cost. Sales tax causes it to go up, so that means we are adding 8% of the cost, so 0.08 and then times C. So when we combine and simplify, that would be 1.08 times C, the cost. So don't forget that variable. Number 2, the total cost of a kitchen appliance with a 15% discount. Well, the discount causes it to go down because it's saving us money, so we don't have to pay as much. So we start with the total cost, which is C, and then we have a 15% discount. So 15% of the cost, so minus, since we are going down, it's a discount, and then 0.15 times the cost C. So now we have C minus 0.15C, and that would give us 0.85C. So we would end up paying 85% of the original cost. Number 3, the grocery delivery costs C with a 5% delivery fee. So that fee causes that price to go up, so we know we're going to have to add. So we start with our cost, and then we add the 5% fee. So that would be 0.05 of whatever that original cost was, so plus 0.05C. Combine to get our second expression, that would be 1.05C. Number 5, we have sales tax again, so it causes it to go up. So we have the total cost C, and then plus 0.075C. Then when we add that together, that would give us 1.075 times C, the cost. Number 6, the total distance after jogging the same amount of hours H each day. The first day you're jogging 4 miles per hour, the second day you're jogging 6 miles per hour. So in this one, day 1, it was 4 miles per hour. Well, it depends on how many hours we jogged. If we did 2, then it would be 8 miles. If we did 3, it'd be 12. If we did 4 hours, it'd be 16. So it just depends on H. So we are going to multiply by H. And then we're going to add it together because we need the total distance of the second day. So the second day, it was 6 miles per hour. And then once again, it depends on the amount of hours, which we said it was going to be the same, so 6H. So 4H plus 6H will give us 10H. Number 7, the total combined income if Matt makes $15.50 per hour and Ashley makes $16 per hour, and they're going to be working the same amount of hours H. Well, Matt makes $15.50 per hour, so that means $15.50 times the amount of hours he works. We need the total combined, so we're adding that together with Ashley's, and hers was 16 per hour, so 16H. Add those up, and we would get $31.50 per hour to figure out the total combined income. Last but not least, number 8, the total number of animal legs if a farmer has an equal number of pigs and chickens, and the animals is being represented by A. Well, a pig has 4 legs and a chicken has 2 legs. So we would have 4 times however many animals we have, so that would be A, because they have an equal number of pigs and chickens, and then plus 2, because a chicken has 2 legs, and then it depends on the amount of animals, so times A. And then we combine those, and we would have 6A. Please make sure that you get these glued into your strategy section of your notes.